Angel Gomes' contract at Lille does expire in the summer, and so he would be available to return to United on a free. Now, to be honest, having made a video on Angel Gomes back at the start of the season, he's fallen into the category of a player whose skill set I like a lot, but he was a player who I was unsure whether he would suit the Premier League in general, let alone playing in a midfield double pivot in Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3 system due to his lack of physicality, athleticism, and his overall defensive capabilities. However, I do think that he could be brought in not as a starter, but rather as an impact player coming off the bench, playing the role that Eriksen should have been playing without his significant decline. However, it would force Ruben Amorim to be a bit more tactically creative, and so in this video I'm going to analyse why I think Angel Gomes, despite not being stylistically suited to Ruben Amorim's 3-4-3, could still be a valuable weapon off the bench in specific situations throughout a game. But before I carry on with the analysis, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to dragonjersey.com. They sent me over one of their retro shirts, this Manchester United 2006-2007 long-sleeved home shirt with Ronaldo 7 on the back, which may be my favourite jersey of all time, with Ronaldo's performance that season making it even more iconic. They've also got other retro and current season jerseys available, and depending on where you live you can get 7 to 12 day delivery time. If you use code Atlantis at checkout, you will get a discount for a limited time, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comments section below. So stylistically, I'd compare Angel Gomes with a young Marco Verratti or Stanislav Lobotka, in the sense that being just 5'5" and around 60 kg, Angel Gomes is one of the least physically imposing central midfielders that you'll see. But like the other two who I've just mentioned, what he provides in possession does make up for his defensive limitations. See, Gomes is one of the most efficient players in possession around right now, and what I mean by this is that he plays football with a futsal-inspired mentality. As soon as he receives the ball, it's under his full control, wherefrom he's able to recognise when he needs to carry the ball forward into the space provided in order to entice a pressing player to engage, and then where and when to release the ball in order to allow his team to take advantage of the space created by Gomes initially enticing the press. He keeps play circulating, dropping deep and being the orchestrator of the ball progression, utilising a high volume of shorter passes. But as you can see from his FB Ref report over the past 365 days, he isn't someone who only plays it simple with an over focus on retaining possession, as he actually ranks higher for his medium and long passes completed and completion rates than he does for his shorter passing metrics, with him being one of the best long passing midfielders in Europe statistically, which alongside his progressive passes and passes into the final third, ranking around the mid 80th percentiles, supports what you see from the eye test, as like Marco Verratti, Gomes sits at the base of the midfield, specialising in being the point from where the attack is orchestrated, having that Paul Scholes-like ability to receive the ball in front of the opposition's 10 outfield players, and either switch in play with a pinpoint pass out to the flanks, progressing the ball into the box with a pass over the top to release a runner in behind the back line, or more frequently using his vision, disguised body shape and technical ability to thread incisive passes, splitting the opposition's midfield and finding players between the lines in the middle and final thirds. And I think this passing ability could be used by Amorim when United are chasing a goal, whilst dominating possession against a deep and compact defensive shape, or even alternatively when United have a 1 or 2 goal lead and need to control possession in order to slow down the tempo of the game, stifling the opposition's momentum in order to see out a win. But before I come on to the tactical analysis, we need to talk about the limitations in Gomes' game. Now before I come on to that, I should say that Gomes isn't just a central midfielder who's going to sit behind the ball, holding a deep position in possession as a regista type, as we do see from Lobotka and Verratti, as at this stage in his career, Gomes is fairly quick across the ground over shorter distances, enabling him to find a pass from deep and then making a sharp forward run ahead of the ball, looking to receive possession higher up the pitch, but also when he's receiving possession between the opposition's midfield and defensive lines, his close ball control, quick footwork and fluid body movement enables him to play out of congested areas, having the effect of drawing opposition players towards the ball before popping it off in front or to the side, taking them out of the game in the process. And the strengths and weaknesses in his game are perfectly reflected in the possession section of his FB Ref report, where despite ranking in the bottom 5% for his take-ons attempted, completed, progressive carries and carries into the penalty area, he does rank in the mid to high 90th percentiles for his successful take-ons completion rate, as well as for the amount and percentage he has tackled whilst dribbling, and similarly high for his miscontrols and dispossessions. Now at first glance this does look extremely odd, but alongside the eye test you can clearly see how this represents Angel Gomes as a player. He isn't a ball carrier at all, not even being as good as players like Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes or Ugarte in this regard, and whilst he infrequently attempts take-ons, when he does, he very rarely gets dispossessed. In a nutshell, Angel Gomes is stylistically the sort of player that would come out of La Masia, and I actually think you may be able to even consider Angel Gomes elite when it comes solely to his passing ability. But to be honest, it has to be in order to make up for the limitations in his skill set, which brings us on to how, if signed, Angel Gomes could be used tactically by Ruben Amorim. I don't think you can play Angel Gomes in a midfield double pivot, as you have the same issues as when Eriksen is playing there. Now, the former United Academy graduate is substantially quicker across shorter distances compared with Eriksen, overall having a lot more energy, which I do think makes him less of a liability in the centre of the pitch, but physically, athletically and defensively, as you can see from the eye test as well as looking at his FB ref report, where he's tackled just 20% of dribblers he's faced in the bottom 3%, as well as ranking very low for the amount of dribblers he's tackled and the interceptions he's made. And so if you don't use Angel Gomes in a compact midfield where players are in close proximity, when in defensive but particularly pressing situations, then he is going to struggle when having to defend in large spaces. And you could easily see teams like Liverpool, Brighton and Fulham being able to absolutely leave him for dead in this area. In the most recent video of my Who Manchester United Should Sign series, which I will leave linked in the eye above, I suggested that they sign Ederson and Oyedele, which would give Ruben Amorim a starting midfield double pivot of Ederson alongside one of Bruno or Ugarte depending on what the midfield needs in a specific game, with Mainu also capable of playing there and Maxi Oyedele another industrious ball winner to provide quality and depth. But I also suggested that 2 or 3 of the players in the youth system, maybe Sekou Kone, Jim Thwaites and Tyler Fletcher, could compete for a backup role in order to fill out the squad. But with reports that Sekou Kone may be sent out on loan, you could then decide to bring in Angel Gomes on a free, not just for depth, but to play a very specific role. And this signing could also provide United with another benefit that a lot of people don't seem to think about, and I'll tell you what that is towards the end of the video. But before that, let's take a look at how Angel Gomes could fit into Ruben Amorim's system tactically. So Gomes is not going to work in a midfield double pivot in the 3-4-3. And so if signed, he's not really going to be a starter, instead an option coming off the bench for the last 30 minutes or so. Now of course this would be relying on Amorim adapting his system slightly towards the end of a game, moving to more of a 3-man midfield, with 2 more athletic and industrious players either side of Gomes, with Ugarte and Oyedele if he was re-signed both being perfect to play this role, though you could also use Mainu here if needed as well. The 2 wing-backs can now be a lot more aggressive going forward and also given the freedom to drift infield into more central areas, which would suit Ahmad on the right, and a similar winger-wing-back hybrid from the left, with Oyedele and Ugarte sitting deep in the rest defence, covering the space in the channels in case of a counter. You can then have one of Bruno Fernandes or Cunha in behind the centre forward, but Amorim would also have to give one or both of the wide centre backs the licence to join the attack as well, providing third man runs from deep ahead of the ball. From here, Gomes can sit centrally at the base of the possession system, being the dictator of play, and the main source of ball progression from deeper areas, just as he did in the games that he played for England, where he showcased how effective his vision, disguised body shape and incisive passing technique is by threading passes through compact defensive shapes and working the ball between the lines. If Amorim wanted both Bruno Fernandes and Cunha on the pitch, rather than using both Ugarte and Oyedele, he could instead use one, with Mazraoui the right-sided centre-back pushing up ahead, holding more of a central position in the rest defence when United have the ball, in order to provide Gomes with the necessary defensive protection on his outside. Whether it's controlling the tempo of a game to see out a win, or being the creative spark to unlock a deep defensive shape when chasing a goal, I do think Angel Gomes could be a valuable option for Amorim to have on his bench, if he was used properly. If Amorim refuses to make any sort of tactical alterations at all, then it's probably not worth signing Gomes at all, because he's definitely not suited to playing in the midfield double pivot. But also, if he was signed on a free, his salary is going to be around £5 to £6 million, and given his age, you could probably sell him on next summer for between 20, maybe as much as £30 million, which would go down as basically pure profit, which can then be reinvested elsewhere. So let me know what you think of Angel Gomes in the comment section below. And if you do want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to dragonjersey.com. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a 10% discount, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comments section below. Also, if you want to read any of my articles, you can get a 7-day free trial, or you can sign up to my in-game Instagram group chat, so I'll leave that linked on the end screen now as well.